Downtown, the atmosphere bleeds, a haunting crimson mist screaming catastrophe. Suddenly, a twisted gateway fractures reality overhead, pulsing with violent energy. This massive void vows to consume the world. Steel-nerved the main character and his top-tier squad confront the nightmare. Live reports confirm the worst the squad is breaching a quadruple S rank dungeon, the deadliest on record. Civilians buzz with rumors about the Rhino Corps' god-tier power and their broken leader. Flexing power, he boasts 7 pieces of triple S rank gear, stoic and icy. The legend doesn't flinch against the crushing gravity of the zone. Gripping his ID, we learn Yan Henshu is 32. A flashback reveals Gates first manifested during the protagonist's birth year. Soon monstrosities flooded the world, igniting a war for survival. Humans salvaged monster loot, but in this hellscape, cold cash won't save your life. Hard truth gear scales from F to double S, but your loadout depends solely on your inner potential. A wealthy executive rants that his E rank status locks him out of legendary gear. However, for the elite S rankers, life is a playground of fame and god-level perks. Since childhood, our boy was a freakish genius hitting triple S rank at just 5 years old. By 8, the prodigy was raiding dungeons, and at 14, he was speedrunning C rank rift solo. At 25, the beast crushed his first S rank dungeon alone, leaving total carnage behind. His legend went global, with the public hailing him as humanity's savior. The world blindly trusts their champion to prevent extinction. Back now, the team locks in their formation for the suicide mission. Stepping into the death zone, they advance through the bleak terrain with zero hesitation. The Rhino Corps plunges into the final, most lethal vortex. The air turns suffocating, heavy with a murderous intent that signals true danger. Instantly, our leader unsheathes his blade and parries a devastating opening strike. Sparks fly as arcane spells ignite the chaotic battlefield. Suddenly, a colossal violet limb slams down, aiming to flatten the entire squad. Horrified, the team panics, but the main character stays stone cold. A grotesque freak, with a baby's face and a primate's frame, emerges. Barking orders, our hero commands a full-throttle assault. Zero mercy, a hellish flying hydra flashes its lethal fangs. Slashing with zero hesitation, a warrior carves into the beast's legs. Drenched in toxic venom, the monster's speed evaporates. Seizing the opening, the snipers lock onto the paralyzed creature's vitals. Launching with lethal force, a shimmering bolt tears through the sky. Direct hit, the arrow buries itself in the monster's eye, triggering a deafening shriek. Striding forward with his scythe, a comrade calls the beast too ugly to live. Vaulting high for the kill, he vows to purge the filth. In a crimson blur, the scythe whistles through the air. A perfect decapitation sends the head spinning as the corpse falls. Landing flawlessly, the Reaper smirks at the pathetic difficulty of the kill. The piece vanishes as a jade laser incinerates the area, erasing another threat instantly. Chunks of monster rain down across the ruined landscape. Suddenly, a pink-haired fighter senses that the nightmare is just beginning. Black ichor sprays as monsters launch a vicious ambush. Without blinking, a tangent-sized strike cleaves a massive horror in two like wet paper. The bisected remains slam down, vibrating the earth, delivering a cold reality check. The leader warns them to stay sharp in double S. Dungeon's common sense is dead. The elite squad regroups, forming an iron wall against the incoming tide. From the shadows, a titanic legion begins to encircle them. Facing the horde, our boy calmly reads the field, coiled to strike. Thousands of wretched monsters surge forward in a disgusting, endless wave. The protagonist realizes they're being baited into a war of attrition. Acting fast, the leader commands a containment strategy to bottleneck the swarm. Chanting softly, the healer invokes divine protection. Keeping the squad shielded and fueled, he conjures heavy ordnance from the void. Beside him, a lethal gunslinger invokes divine mercy, eager to baptize the horde in lead. Cackling like a total lunatic, her roar echoes through the cavern as she tells the demonic swarm to rot in hell. Unleashing a relentless barrage, her lead storm vaporizes the enemy front lines. Executing a ruthless tactical maneuver, the team ignites a psychic charm spell to liquefy the monsters' minds. Driven into a mindless frenzy, the confused beasts begin tearing into their own kin amidst the absolute carnage. To seal their fate, a devastating frost spell flash freezes the corridor, grinding the charge to a halt. Glowing through the haze, a burst of prismatic magic erupts, shattering the boulders blocking their path. Diving from the heavens, a master swordsman channels the lotus flower's essence and strikes with world-shaking force, cratering the earth without pity. The warrior's impact erupts in a massive cloud of grit, suddenly launching a titanic crescent of golden energy. It carves through the demonic ranks in one sweep. Within seconds, the battlefield becomes a gruesome graveyard of scattered limbs. Smirking at the overkill, the scythe user mocks how the guy turned the floor into dust. With the zone cleared, The party catches their breath, surrounded by nothing but mangled remains. Having locked down the sector, they celebrate the effortless win, marching over crushed skulls that bear witness to the brutal clash. Countless impaled corpses still dangle from jagged obsidian spikes. Finally, massive stone gates at the tunnel's end signal. The real nightmare begins. With a grim expression, our protagonist warns the crew that the legendary dungeon boss lies ahead, commanding everyone to pop their potions and maximum power buffs. He predicts the coming fight will be pure insanity, and the team nods in agreement. Handing over a vial, his partner mentions, "This new brew boosts buffs by 20%. Trusting his team, our hero downs the azure liquid in one go. With a piercing stare, the leader declares that their entire mission hinges on the next few minutes. The colossal stone doors groan open, unveiling the boss arena. Stepping inside, the warrior finds the eerie silence deeply unsettling. Behind him, the squad suddenly halts, shattering their formation. Baffled by their strange behavior, the kid asks what the hell they're doing. As they stand motionless, a violent chill crawls up his spine, and his pupils dilate in pure shock. Suddenly, a lethal surge of electricity fries the leader's nerves as a crimson light explodes. He collapses into the dirt, unable to comprehend why his mana is spiraling into nothingness. Looking down at his trembling hands, the boy realizes his armor is swallowing him whole. On the floating interface, the system warns that a paralyzing toxin has completely neutralized his motor functions. In an instant, his legendary gear unceremoniously drops off his body for failing the minimum level requirement. Reduced to a fraction of his size, our hero has literally regressed into a helpless toddler. In that shadowed chamber trembling with fury, he finally connects the dots and realizes he's been set up. With a wicked smirk, his teammate looms over the fallen leader. The party's healer then sneers, grabbing the boy's chin and gloating that the poison worked even better than expected. Seething with rage, the kid glares at the traitor, his eyes burning with hatred, though his body is far too weak to strike. Around him, the guild members drop their masks, revealing the faces of cold-blooded sociopaths. Without a hint of hesitation, the man in the suit admits he fed him the shrinking serum because the protagonist was simply too powerful. Spilling the truth, he explains he needed the triple S rank artifacts to fall off so they could rob him blind. Next, the support girl announces she's claiming the epic necklace to amplify her own healing stats. Then the arrogant sniper snatches the ocular relic, vowing to become an unstoppable god on the field. On the freezing floor, our tiny hero demands to know why they betrayed the years of brotherhood they shared. Standing over him, the scythe wielder confesses he's been plotting this backstab from the shadows for an eternity, aiming his blade at the boy's throat. The traitor coldly reminds him that dead men don't get answers. On the periphery, the strategist with glasses watches the cowardly act in silence. Slowly, the massive doors begin to creak shut, locking the hero in with the world's deadliest beast. In that moment, a decade of battles and broken promises flashes before his eyes. Abandoned in the darkness, he realizes their friendship was a lie. Finally consumed by a mountain of rage, the shrunken warrior's eyes ignite, with pure killing intent and a thirst for blood. Directly behind him, the dungeon's true horror awakens, hungry for the kill, revealing its grotesque form, the massive, one-eyed titan raises a shattered, blood-soaked blade. Suddenly, a blue system window pings, congratulating him for triggering a secret hidden quest. The sacrifice is complete. Now, our hero drifts aimlessly within a pitch-black infinite void. Mangled like a fallen angel, he gasps for air, awakening amidst ruins, stunned to find his heart still beating. A glowing hologram appears, revealing the system's intervention and the hidden rebirth it custom-tailored just for him. Dazed, he wonders, was this just insane RNG, or did that secret quest purposefully drag him back from the brink? Checking himself over, frustration boils up. He hasn't returned to the powerhouse physique he once possessed. His prime hunter form is gone. Suddenly, a notification pings his new body is a literal carbon copy of his final moments. The truth hits hard. That poison from the traitors glitched the rebirth, trapping his soul inside this puny childish frame. A cold smile creeps across his face. Those snakes had no clue about the secret quest. They just wanted him dead. Facing the grim reality, our pint-sized MC realizes his stats have tanked. He's back to being a weak C-rank fodder. Comparing his current self to those overpowered S-rank traitors, he knows a head-on collision right now would be pure suicide. With a heavy sigh, he sinks onto a jagged rock, forced to swallow the bitter pill of his current helplessness. Boom! A massive boulder crashes down, shattering his gloom. Suddenly, a sharp chime echoes from the magical UI before him. System windows flare, with blinding light declaring a legendary hidden reward for his righteous death at the hands of traitors. Paralyzed by shock, he stares at the screen. The words blinking before him seem too insane to be true. No fluff, just pure power. The panel confirms the permanent activation of the unlimited equipment restriction system. The game's balance is officially broken. Requirements be damned, he can now wield any legendary gear, regardless of his level. Clenching his small fists, a fire ignites in his eyes. Even as a C-rank weakling, he can now unleash god-tier weaponry. Visions of mythic blades swirl around his small stature, a testament to his hidden potential. But doubts still linger. Squinting suspiciously, he questions the system. Is this insane cheat actually legit? The response is instantaneous. The AI processes the request, hard-coding the new broken ability into his soul. His climb back to the peak starts now. I accept, he roars, fully committing to this path. Immediately, the hologram flickers, offering up his first game-changing reward. A free S-rank weapon of his choice. He swipes through the shimmering menu, eyeing the elite arsenal available to him. Should he go for speed? His gaze lingers on a glowing blue dagger, its sleek design built for swift, lethal strikes. Does it fit his tiny frame? He scoffs, tossing the idea aside. Small knives are for cowards who hide in shadows. Those lack respect. He scrolls deeper until his finger halts at the colossal greatswords tab. With a smirk, he locks it in. A gargantuan slab of metal steel extinction manifests, radiating a terrifying aura. Its sheer scale is absolutely mind-blowing. This is it, his instrument of vengeance. Wrapping his small hands around the massive hilt, he feels the crushing weight of destiny. Arcane blue lightning pulses through the cold steel. His eyes narrow. The mana flow is flawless, perfectly synchronized with his soul. Zero penalties. Despite his frail appearance, a manic grin spreads across his face as he hefts the mountain-shattering blade. The broken system is the real deal. Staring into the blade's mirror-like finish, he makes a silent, blood-chilling vow. Every single traitor will bleed by this toy. Suddenly, the system pings, granting him a sarcastic Oscar winner title. A live feed from the surface flickers on. The dungeon's purple gateway hums, swarmed by hungry reporters and a frantic crowd. Out step the traitors, walking with unearned swagger and masking their sins behind masks of fake heroism and lies. Confusion erupts. A sharp-eyed journalist notices the gap in their ranks. The legendary captain is nowhere to be found. The performance begins. The marksman bows his head in a display of faux grief, playing the mourning comrade for the cameras. Squeezing out fake tears, the healer clings to the tank, manipulating the crowd's sympathy. The media lunges forward for answers. Mics are shoved in their faces. Was the SSS rank gate cleared? The scythe user hides a sinister smirk behind his hand. With a practiced, somber tone, he begins the lie that will steal the MC's glory and bury his legacy forever. Chaos ensues at the briefing as everyone screams the same question: where is the guild's invincible captain? Wiping away crocodile tears, the scythe wielder spins a tale of an unstoppable beast that was simply too fast to counter. Looking mournful, the strategist pushes his glasses up subtly, shifting the entire weight of the failure onto their dead leader. They claim his recklessness endangered the whole squad. The healer adds fuel to the fire with a perfectly timed dramatic sob. Keeping a poker face, the strategist lies, claiming the hero stubbornly charged into enemy territory alone, ignoring all warnings. He was lost in the darkness. Horror ripples through the crowd as the tragic news of their icon's death sinks in. The marksman fakes a fist-clenching rage, acting devastated that he couldn't save his friend from the slaughter. What a joke. Lies bleed through the microphones as the clueless masses swallow their scripted narrative whole. The public buys the claim that their late leader sabotaged the mission and abandoned his comrades. Weeping crocodile tears, the support girl paints the kid as a glory hound. Then the glasses-wearing snake begs everyone to respect the fallen soldier's legacy, despite his failings. Gripping the legendary blade, he weaves a web of lies, spinning a tale of the captain's final sacrifice to ensure their survival. From afar, our protagonist watches this theatrical sham, stomach churning at his former ally's disgusting performance. To finish their act, the traitor vows to master the divine sword and exact vengeance for their lost brother. Fueled by manufactured grief, the crowd erupts, demanding the guild purge all monsters and rise like divine saviors. The backstabbers exit to thunderous applause, clutching their stolen prize. Meanwhile, tucked away in the shadows, our hero's killing intent surges as he recalls the healer's twisted, sadistic smirk. Rage boils in his veins. High above, the massive abyss looms over the skyline, with an eerie glow. Simmering with fury, the young hero finds their victim card performance absolutely pathetic. Jaw clenched, he glares at the screen, analyzing the sheer depravity of his former friends, while reliving the betrayal. He admits these snakes played their roles perfectly to manipulate the world. For once, the weight of reality settles in, as he dissects the true motive behind his brutal murder. He doubts it was just for triple S rank loot. With a dark, chilling grin, he decides their secret reasons are irrelevant. He only cares about their smug, arrogant faces. Bloodlust consumes his small frame. Swearing a path of carnage, the kid vows to hunt them down one by one, with his bare hands. As midnight falls, our hero retreats to a secluded, quiet inn. Splashing cold water, he tries to extinguish his burning rage and wash away the grime. With his hair now jet black, he's just relieved he's got enough cash to avoid the streets tonight. Stepping out of the shower, the warrior's mind finally clears. Staring into the mirror, he scoffs at the mind control excuse they use to justify his execution. Now the boy knows for certain that a far darker conspiracy is at play. On the news, the death of the legendary Yanhan Shuo continues to shatter viewing records. Dressed in basic gear, he remembers that the high school prodigy tournament kicks off tomorrow. This is the ultimate chance to strike. He'll use the event to infiltrate his old guild and dig for the truth. But first he needs a clean eye to keep his identity hidden. Though trapped in a child's body, his triple S rank soul is ready to dominate the rankings again. On screen, the anchor hypes up the search for the next world-class prodigy. Armed with absolute confidence, the boy knows exactly how he'll climb back to the top. An ironic smirk plays on his lips as he contemplates returning to the chaos of high school. Watching the city lights, the blueprint for his bloody retribution is already etched in his mind. With a steady stride, the Avenger hits the pavement to solve his paperwork issue. Cloaked in shadows, he vanishes into the city's grittiest underbelly. Navigating the lawless streets, the kid seeks the district that runs the black market. In the heart of a ghost town street, a lead points him to a back alley forge for illegal documents. Approaching the sketchy hideout, he skips the pleasantries and kicks the weathered door, demanding an audience. Regardless of the late hour, a massive thug swings the door open, visibly ticked off, scanning the area for the brat who dared disturb them. Unfazed, the shrunken hero demands a new identity card, flashing his cash. The criminal stares back, completely baffled by the tiny size of his client. With a predatory grin, the thug thinks he's found a defenseless orphan, a ghost with no one to miss him. Suddenly, hulking shadows surround the boy in the narrow alley. Without a hint of fear, the protagonist's eyes flare with hidden power under his hood. Overconfident, the gang leader laughs, bragging about how they harvest organs from lost kids for a living. Brandishing a blade, the giant lunges, telling the kid to die quietly. Standing his ground, our little MC doesn't flinch. Death lunges at him without warning, but our boy snaps into a blur, burying a brutal kick into the thug's gut. Shot back like a rag doll, the leader slams against the brick wall and immediately coughs up a spray of crimson. Pure terror hits the goons as they unsheath their blades, cursing that a mere D-ranker is making their lives a living hell. Without missing a beat, he activates a broken skill, unleashing a blinding glow that sends the criminals into a total panic. They can't grasp where that phantom weapon came from, while our boy just laughs at the irony of this street fight. Fighting these low-life traffickers feels like a joke after being targeted by the world's elite just moments ago. Suddenly, the system's red UI blazes to life, overriding all limiters and letting him unleash a strike that defies physics. He swings that radiant B-rank steel like it's weightless, right before the vibe shifts to a place of pure opulence. We're suddenly in a massive high-end office where a hulking guild tank confirms the entire room is bug-free and secure. Straightening his designer cuffs, the four-eyed strategist smugly reveals that the academy is literally begging for their presence tomorrow. While lounging on the sofa, the healer listens to their dirty manipulation tactics without showing even a spark of interest. Noticing the overly formal drip, the marksman wonders why anyone would dress this hard for a late-night meeting. He questions the need for such fancy attire, before turning his back and heading straight for the exit. The strategist just gives a cold, villainous stare, ignoring his teammate while his eyes burn with a dark, sinister intent. He coldly announces he's got a can't-miss date tonight. Far away, a lone photo shows the fallen leader smiling. In that picture, he's hugging a beautiful girl who is currently drowning in tears inside a pitch-black room. The TV officially broadcasts Yanhan Shuo's demise while his fiancée stares into the void with completely lifeless eyes. Shrouded in darkness, she weeps in total silence, clutching the only memory she has left of her lost love. Gripping the frame with trembling hands, she whispers his name, the crushing weight of grief tearing her soul apart. Sudden heavy knocks shatter the silence, fueling a desperate hope that her hero has somehow returned from the dead. Her heart sinks when that snake of a strategist appears at the door, wearing a punchable, cynical grin. Terrified, she asks how he got in, and the traitor reveals her own relatives handed him the key. Exhausted and sick of his fake sympathy, she demands he get out immediately, wanting to be left alone. The creep barges in and grabs her shoulders coldly, telling her to move on because the MC wasn't worth it. He weaves a web of lies, claiming the deceased was a selfish coward who ditched his team in the dungeon. Furious at the slander, she shoves the liar, screaming that her beloved would never betray his own comrades. With fire in her eyes, she insists he was the only one brave enough to risk everything for the team. Meanwhile, on a rain-soaked street, our kid advances through the shadows, his magic sword pulsing with intense energy. Seething with rage, the MC dares his enemies to lunge, clearly in a hurry. Seeing red, the traffickers charge. They promise to beat the cocky brat to a pulp, claiming even a B-rank blade won't save his life. Unfazed, he preps a devastating destruction technique, his blade glowing a toxic neon green as the air begins to tremble. Channeling an absurd amount of raw power, a dark, satisfied smile creeps across his face as he readies his strike. He triggers a massive AoE rapid slash, a monstrous wave of energy that tears through the entire alley like a hurricane. The brutes are sent flying like trash bags hit by a semi-truck, their eyes wide with absolute soul-crushing shock. A literal festival of blood follows, painting the grimy, wet walls of the alleyway a deep, gruesome red. Seconds later, the ground is littered with broken criminals groaning in agony amidst the filthy puddles of rain. Trembling in terror, the gang boss desperately begs to know what kind of merciless monster he's dealing with. Standing tall in the rain, the hero simply replies that he's just someone who refuses to let others down. Cornered, the forger swallows hard, seeing his own end, reflecting in the cold eyes of the hooded boy. Our MC gives a chilling dark smile, asking if the lowlife is finally ready to print that fake ID. Back at the apartment, Fanny lands a stinging slap on the strategist's face, but he just returns a sinister glare. The villain shamelessly claims he owns her life, revealing her aunt and uncle have already sold her out. She freezes in total horror, learning that her own family accepted his marriage proposal behind her back. Her world shatters as he announces the ceremony is set for next month. Meanwhile, the forger hands over the card. With trembling hands, the thug refuses any payment, dropping to his knees and begging the MC for mercy. Drenched in sarcasm, the boy praises the top-tier work and thanks the thug for his hospitality. He swiftly deduces that a bottom-feeding operation like this must have a heavy-hitting shark pulling the strings. Cutting through the noise, the hero forces the lowlife to spill the trafficking boss's name with a deadly ultimatum. With a flash of steel, he severs the thug's arms, declaring that trash deserves nothing but absolute judgment. Amidst blood-curdling screams, the criminal pays the price for his cowardice as the downpour finally ceases. The crimson night fades as the broken gang leader drags his mangled body through the filth of the gutter. Golden sunlight slowly bathes the skyline, ushering in another day of fragile, deceptive peace. Exhaling deeply, the boy realizes the night vanished while he was sanitizing the streets. He inspects his forged papers. The hero's new alias is primed for action. Every detail is flawless, proving his cover as an ordinary student is airtight. By dawn, the school grounds swarm like a chaotic beehive, with students arriving for the high-stakes selection tournament. In the massive line, the hopefuls grumble about the wait, all dreaming of becoming humanity's next grand protector. Perched atop a high wall, our protagonist feels grateful he arrived early enough to dodge that suffocating sea of people. Purely focused on making it through, he counts his meager cash, terrified of ending up homeless by sunset. Suddenly, a group of entitled jerks begins trash-talking the fallen leader, calling him a desperate attention-seeking clown. Doubled over in laughter, the group's wealthy ringleader mocks the hero's demise, finding the entire tragedy a massive joke. From the shadows, the boy grinds his teeth, enduring the toxic slander. Surprisingly, a lone nerd defends the dead. He barks at the bullies to shut their mouths instantly. The group just howls at the weakling's sudden bravery. They sneer and label the brave defender a delusional brat. However, the four-eyed student is absolutely fuming with rage. He roars that he won't let anyone spit on his idol's legacy. The protagonist's eyes widen, stunned by such defiance. Fighting for someone else, the nerd screams that the world lived in constant terror before the hero cleared the darkness. The sheer fire in his voice draws a massive crowd as the playground drama escalates to a boiling point. In the courtyard, the rich jerk's expression turns murderous, his ego bruised by the nerd's public scolding. Sporting a venomous grin, the coward prepares to humiliate the boy in front of the entire student body. Driven by spite, the villain claims the hero hoarded divine gear out of pure narcissism and vanity. The bully recognizes him instantly, exposing the boy as a bottom-tier F-rank loser. Then he really twists the knife. The rich kid scoffs that the boy's father must be ashamed to have raised such a pathetic, talentless failure. Without hesitation, the scoundrel fires a searing flame spell. The impact sends the bespectacled defender crashing into the pavement. Watching from the sidelines, our main character hesitates, fearing that helping might blow his secret cover on day one. With white-knuckled fists, the hero suffers in silence, forced to watch the cowardice instead of crushing the aggressor instantly. Even battered on the floor, the nerd glares up, stating his low rank doesn't justify insulting the world's savior. Trembling through the agony, the boy exhibits the soul of a true warrior that most fake S-rank hoaxes lack. In a surge of desperate guts, the defender summons a pathetic F-rank wooden club to stage a final stand. Mocking the twig-like weapon, the bully manifests a lethal D-rank silver axe to end the fight. The crowd gasps. Everyone is shocked by the coward's high rank for his age. With a lethal arc, the axe whistles toward the nerd's skull. Facing certain death, the nerd sees a blur. The small kid has moved in a flash, catching the wooden handle. Dazed by the insane speed, the nerd blinks, unable to process how he is still breathing. Coldly, our hero claims he only intervened because he's sick of hearing about rich families. A perfect excuse. Now on his knees, the wealthy coward is quickly backed up by his squad of hulking henchmen. Fuming with humiliation, the playboy screams for his gang to tear the meddling brat to pieces. Panic ripples through the students, sensing a bloodbath is about to erupt. In an arrogant display of power, the rich kid barks at the boy to surrender the silver axe immediately. The hero just gives a mocking smirk. Challenging him to take it by force, the playboy snaps, charging forward with a murderous glint in his eyes. With one effortless motion, our protagonist shatters the D-rank silver axe into pieces, using only his flimsy wooden club. Calm and cold, the kid warns that rushing in blindly is a one-way ticket to a hospital bed. Shifting his icy gaze to the remaining thugs, he delivers a final, bone-chilling warning while maintaining his lethal aura. Our former captain clarifies a harsh truth: brute force alone won't earn you anyone's respect in reality. Propping the shattered hilt against his shoulder, he concludes that society's fragile base is what actually elevates the strong. The crowd stands frozen, stunned that some random nobody just pulverized a high-tier magic artifact. But the action isn't over. The brat declares he'll thrash the bully for his massive ego. Just as his fist flies forward, though, a massive hand clamps onto the weapon, halting the strike instantly. Out of thin air, a high-ranking instructor intervenes. He shuts down the brawl, demanding silence. The veteran strictly warns that mindless violence only breeds more bloodshed and revenge. Rumors fly as the spectators realize the suited man is an elite S-ranker, clearly moved by the boy's raw talent. The instructor demands the rookie's name. Panicked, our hero accidentally reveals his true identity before frantically trying to backtrack. He quickly spits out the alias Xiao Wuzhen. Nodding from afar, the pro hunter records the name in his logs. He promises to monitor this cocky new blood throughout the trials. The boy stares back, his expression turning stone cold. It hits him, he's definitely stood out way too much. The teacher just rubs his neck, letting out a heavy sigh. Sensing a chaotic day ahead with these wild brats, the official rank evaluation ceremony finally kicks into gear. To settle the restless mob, an announcer bellows that over 4,000 hopefuls have shown up today. It's an all-time record for registration. Irritated, our protagonist realizes the queue follows a strict alphabetical system. Unfortunately, his fake alias starts with an X. Suddenly, the faculty announces a VIP guest is about to arrive. They need someone to inspire the rookies and maintain order. Intrigued, the boy wonders who this mysterious legend could be. His blood runs cold as a nauseatingly familiar aura fills the air. Without warning, the squad of backstabbers steps out. They reek of pure ego. The trainees go wild, whispering in disbelief that the legendary elite guild is actually here. Despite their recent dungeon blunder, the pressure they emit is suffocating, leaving the weaker students shaking in their boots. This max-level power is no joke. Stepping to the podium, the bespectacled leader grabs the mic. He claims to be the acting commander. Playing the part of a tragic hero, he thanks everyone for the warm welcome. Standing before the talented youth, the snake begins addressing the nasty rumors swirling around the guild. He mentions the catastrophe triggered by their previous leader, masking his malice with a fake sympathetic smile. The coward manipulates the crowd, urging them not to despise the dead man for just one unfortunate lapse in judgment. Down in the yard, the sharp-eyed student immediately detects the poisonous intent hidden beneath those sugary words. Twisting the knife, the leader claims the fallen captain wasn't a villain but a tragic pioneer who paved the way. Fooled by his act, the students whisper that the old captain was lucky to have such loyal, forgiving friends. Stoking the competitive fire, the antagonist finishes his speech and commands the potential evaluations to begin immediately. Thirsty for glory, the mob of rookies charges toward the testing stations in a chaotic frenzy. Vowing to outshine the fallen legend, reality hits hard as miserable F-rank scores start flashing on the monitors. Heartbreak spreads through the line. One by one, trainees trudge away, crushed by their abysmal F and E rank results. Unimpressed, the glasses-wearing boy notes that barely anyone has managed to climb out of the E rank gutter so far. Despair hangs heavy in the air. Reminiscing, our hero recalls when the system scanned kids as young as 5. The four-eyed kid whispers the grim truth. Back then, parents would abandon any child deemed too weak by the system. To stop the cycle of cruelty, the government eventually banned testing until age 15 to protect those kids. It was a desperate move to curb child abandonment. Meanwhile, a cocky student steps up to the testing platform. He brags about his potential, but the machine delivers a cold reality check, labeling him a mere C rank. The crowd erupts in cheers, relieved to finally see a hint of actual talent among the failures. It's a step above trash. Beaming with unearned pride, the guy imagines he's now the king of the academy. With a cold stare, the examiner abruptly informs the brat that he's actually failed the entire evaluation. Fuming, the official barks that there's been a massive breach of the strict admission protocols. He's disqualified on the spot. Shaking and drenched in sweat, the stunned student tries to argue his way back in. The judge reveals the brutal truth: their upgraded sensors caught him in a blatant lie. The scanner exposed his real age as 19. Shocked whispers spread through the crowd like wildfire. A C-rank 19-year-old is pathetic in this league. Lurking in the shadows, our MC realizes he's in deep trouble. This high-tech scanner is a direct threat to his cover. Panicking internally, the boy realizes this spy device will definitely expose his true age of 32. Center stage guards drag away another fraud, straight to the Academy's blacklist. Acting fast, he pivots away, knowing a public scandal would blow his cover to the Traitor Guild. Watching from the platform, noticing his sudden exit, the four-eyed geek asks why his hero is dipping before the main event. Bolting, our protagonist bids a cold farewell, dropping a trash excuse to escape the heat. Suddenly, a group of pampered punks intercepts his path, looking to clown on his desperate getaway. In the distance, the audience whispers about the brewing chaos, erupting in the courtyard. Cackling, the wealthy bully mocks him, calling the kid a washed-up old man, scamming his way into the tournament. Sweating, the nerd wonders if he wasted his breath on a fraud. Under a mountain of doubt, rage starts to simmer, as the murderous intent of a max-rank monster erupts within that small frame. Pushing for answers, the geek demands to know if the age-faking rumors are real. Silent, our hero drops his gaze and locks onto the exit, plotting a clean escape. Attempting to play hero, the rich brat stands his ground like a self-appointed sheriff. Striking a twisted pose, he warns that running is a crime, comparable to attempted murder. Nearby, the thugs prepare to lynch the boy. To set an example, while the hero's eyes scream bloody murder, provoked, the kid's expression turns stone cold as they call him a fraud. Suddenly, security units swarm the area, barking for IDs and threatening immediate arrest. Cornered by the mob, the former leader knows the gig is up and the exit will be messy. Grinning like a demon, the brat asks if this trash has any cards left to play. The boy flashes a psychopathic grin and shouts he'll take the test publicly, just to silence them. Stunned, the crowd thinks he's gone insane, taking on the scanner, before thousands of eyes. Full of main character energy, he shoves the guards and marches straight to the scanner, leaving the bullies' squad paralyzed, baffled by this absolute madman's suicidal audacity. While the guild elites dismiss the chaos as peasant drama, ascending the ramp, the hero ignores the noise, stepping into the spotlight. Brain working overtime, he bets this fake tech doesn't actually scan DNA or draw blood. Eyeing the machine, he bets it only reads physical stats like bone density. Moving with precision, he realizes that previous expulsion was just a fear tactic by the school. Betting it all on his gut, the warrior stands firm before the pulsating screen. Shaking with nerves, the geek watches, terrified for his new ally. Thirsty for a public execution, the wealthy punks grin in anticipation. From the shadows, the two-faced geek watches the spectacle with pure disdain. Suddenly, the panel flickers red, verifying that the candidate's physical age is exactly 15. Exhaling in relief, the nerd cheers for his friend's honesty, letting out a victory cry. Smirking, the hero knows his wild gamble paid off. Recalling that high-tier inspectors only scan muscle and raw mana, he knew this so-called advanced tech is just a hidden inspector hunter, cloistered away, casting a projection. Completely unfazed, the kid bets the cursed elixir that shrunk his body also froze his bones as a teen. With a lethal gaze, the warrior proves no inspector can pierce a max ranker's magic. Boom! The screen explodes in blinding gold, revealing a god-tier triple S rank potential. The arena goes absolutely feral, screaming that a divine genius has descended. Paralyzed with fear, the bullies break into a cold sweat as the weight of their mistake hits them. In the VIP box, the traitor's eyes bulge as he senses a familiar haunting aura, but the system short-circuits, screaming error before a final reading. Utterly confused, the MC stammers that the boy's power broke the machine and postpones the test. Refusing to let the energy die, the MC roars, demanding a massive standing ovation from the fans. Honoring the nation's fresh Triple S prodigy, the tension fades as the tournament assessments resume their pace. No more chaos follows, but reality hits hard as a wave of students scores depressing E and D ranks. Despite a few rare B-rank talents, a heavy cloud of disappointment suffocates the entire courtyard arena. Looking defeated, the geek sighs, realizing that securing even an A rank is a monumental uphill battle. Out of nowhere, a breathtaking mysterious girl glides onto the stage, capturing every single student's gaze. Confused murmurs ripple through the crowd as they recognize her face from some viral celebrity gossip. Then it hits them, she's the adopted daughter of that fallen hero raised in the local orphanage. Glued to the monitor, our protagonist spots her and instantly freezes at her unexpected dramatic arrival. With icy composure, she rests her pale hand on the sensor, awaiting the machine's blinding flash of judgment. SS rank potential. The scoreboard explodes, sending the crowd into a frenzy, furious and seething with envy. A wealthy brat screams, demanding to know why that loser's daughter isn't also capped at max level. Shrugging off the noise, the instructor barks orders for the faculty to stay sharp. The evaluations accelerate rapidly. After filtering through hundreds of kids, a new spark ignites as another teen secures a solid S rank. The jealous crowd erupts in applause, but the irony hits instantly. This student's base stats are utterly pathetic. Just F rank attributes. Smirking, the geek notes that massive potential is useless without proper physical training, if you neglect your body from youth. Wrapping things up, the MC announces that SS rankers and above get their pick of any elite university, plus a massive $1 million scholarship. Beaming with pride, the lead teacher boasts that finding 4 absolute monsters on day 1 already makes this event legendary. Observing the chaos, our regressed hero admits this new generation is light years beyond his own era. Hyping the fans, the announcer summons the Divine Rhino Squad's new captain to present the final prestigious awards. Suddenly, the announcer's expression twists into pure terror as he gazes toward the heavens without warning. The azure sky tears wide open, raining lethal fireballs and monstrous beasts onto the center stage. Shredding the clouds, a massive swarm of winged demons dives down, incinerating everything with hellish flames. In the carnage, everyone wonders how S-rank monsters bypass security to target a school of defenseless kids. Terror-stricken, the crowd shrieks about a coordinated satanic dragon suicide strike. Bracing for the absolute worst, our hero scans the invasion, realizing these beasts came specifically to feast on the high-tier freshmen. S-rank recruits. High above the Alpha Dragon locks onto the crowded stands for a devastating attack. Swarming with students, the instructor charges in activating a recall spell to summon his legendary magic weapon. It flies straight into his hand. Clenching his jaw, he prepares to duel a lethal S-rank beast. Armed with only a weakened A-rank spear, he commands his colleagues to handle the low-level trash mobs. He locks eyes with the S-rank dragon leader. With a superhuman leap, the teacher lunges forward. He recalls the critical flaw in the beast's chest armor. Over by the VIP section, the support girl grins wickedly, receiving a telepathic command from the four-eyed mastermind lurking in the shadows. The traitor creeps toward the defense system, masking her malice. A venomous needle slides from her hidden bracelet. It glints lethally under the sun. Pretending to be terrified, she snipes the airborne teacher's back with zero mercy. Slicing through the air, the invisible projectile accelerates, covering the distance in the blink of an eye. Zero defense possible. The dart sinks deep into his shoulder, piercing the master's flesh with surgical precision. Betrayed from behind, the instructor's magic shatters as he falls from the clouds like a broken stone. Crashing into the pavement, he gasps in agony, his legs paralyzed and his grip on his spear failing. As his muscles seize up, the truth hits him. He's been hit by a specialized paralyzing toxin. Betrayed by his own school, the defenseless campus is now bombarded by the dragon's torrential blue fire. The medical bay erupts. Explosions send debris and vehicles flying as the structures crumble. The campus transforms into a living hell. Trapped in the inferno, security teams desperately beg for backup. They must halt the demonic destruction. Inside, the carnage panicked, students scatter like mindless prey. Facing absolute annihilation, the teacher's scream pierces the air. His gaze shifts, landing on the unfazed teenager standing right beside him. Blood gushing from his wounds, he desperately bellows for the kid to run before he's incinerated into ash. Disregarding the warning, the protagonist reveals his bandaged arm. A dark aura erupts as the system window bleeds a warning red. Suddenly, the discarded spear leaps from the dirt into the boy's grip. The instructor's jaw drops, utterly stunned by the sight. He's witnessing a mere student wielding an A-rank weapon without his mana circuitry instantly imploding. With total composure, the young warrior casually asks for a quick tutorial on handling this massive hunk of iron. Meanwhile, the elitist students completely spiral, sobbing in terror at the impossible scene. The mangled master is left reeling. This level of absurdity is beyond his comprehension. Up in the VIP lounge, the guild executives are losing their minds. They demand to know what dark magic allows a nobody to lift a high-tier weapon so effortlessly. The healer recalls that the former hero could barely handle C rank at this age, convinced this kid is using a cheat. Surrounded by flames, the class nerd pushes up his glasses, witnessing the birth of a new terrifying legend. The bullies once so arrogant are now drenched in cold sweat, trembling like leaves before his overwhelming presence. They realize they've accidentally poked a literal monster. The onlookers whisper that handling a blade this heavy is purely superhuman. That spear weighs over 3 tons, yet the boy handles it like a feather. His physical power is completely off the charts. Twirling the weapon, the boy stares down his teacher, demanding the exact strike coordinates for the target. Though crippled by pain, the mentor tries to focus. But the protagonist isn't interested in a long lecture. He bluntly demands the secret to the ultimate charging technique. Throwing logic away, the teacher finally gives in. He tells the boy to pivot his weight, tensing his muscles like a lethal drawn bow, ready to fire. The warrior's foot slams down, pulverizing the asphalt to lock himself into a perfect, immovable stance. The master explains how to lock his arm at 90 degrees, using his peripheral vision to lock onto the dragon's soul. The hero winds back, the spear tearing through reality with a shower of sparks. The master screams for him to strike. With eyes glowing with intent, the hero locks onto his prey, ready to unleash hell. Channeled rage explodes into a deafening roar as he releases every ounce of his dormant power. In a heartbeat, the spear transforms into a bolt of blue lightning screaming across the battlefield. It shreds the air, burying itself deep within the neck of the S-rank Supreme Dragon, with surgical precision. The winged terror emits a bone-chilling shriek, coughing up thick black ichor as its body freezes in the sky. Moments later, a massive mana explosion vaporizes the beast, sending its burning remains plummeting toward the earth. As fire rains down, the teacher mutters that even gods of the sky can't survive a shattered vital point. According to the master's expert analysis, the beast's structural weakness was its only undoing. The system's holographic interface confirms that the creature's core acted like a lethal detonator upon impact. Surveying the carnage, the hero scoffs. This legendary technique was really just throwing trash at an oversized gas bag. The flaming carcass hits the ground like a meteor, leveling a whole building under its massive, scaly weight. With a smirk, the boy notes that this world-class move is surprisingly basic and definitely overrated. The teacher is floored by the kid's casual attitude, his words dying in his throat from pure disbelief. The crowd erupts once more, but this time in celebration of the rookie who just one-shotted a nightmare. The inspectors are shaken. This kid's raw power completely dwarfs the legends of the late Yanhan Shuo. High above the bespectacled snake, whispers to the twisted healer asking for their next sinister move. Below school, security rushes in, mopping up the smaller B-rank stragglers, while scrambling to evacuate the traumatized students. Elite female seniors jump into the chaos, brandishing their weapons to reinforce the crumbling defensive line. Cowering beneath a table, the nerd prays for a miracle, desperate for this blood-soaked nightmare to end. Our hero approaches the fallen master, his voice altered, as he asks if the man can stand or needs rest. Suddenly, the rhythmic sound of slow mocking applause cuts through the smoke like a knife. The guild members descend from their perch, clapping for the freak show that just unfolded on the school grounds. Avoiding their eyes, the boy clenches his teeth. He is now face to face with his past betrayers and murderers. With a chilling fake smile, the strategist apologizes for their tardiness, blaming higher orders for their convenient delay. To stall the rescue, Four Eyes plays dirty, blaming the school for using lethal monsters as a twisted trial. With zero shame, the fake friend doubles down during the assessment, calling the teacher completely incompetent. It's a pathetic setup to justify the instructor's death. Tension peaks as the master and traitor finally clash. They're ready to throw hands right in the middle of a war zone, finally losing his cool. Our boy goes for the jugular, demanding the guild reveal what their fallen leader actually said. As the mission ends, the healer's fake smile cracks. She's visibly shaken by the rookie's sheer audacity. Standing before the combat elite, the hero keeps a poker face while dropping a blatant lie about rumors. He claims the deceased held no grudges. Shifting uncomfortably, the strategist stammers, sticking to his tragic script. He weaves a tale of the captain's noble sacrifice. In a chillingly flat tone, our MC just nods along. Acting totally unbothered by the gossip, he flashes a cold smirk telling the traitors to enjoy their borrowed time. He drops a lethal warning, their days are numbered. A soul-crushing chill paralyzes the villains where they stand. That's the weight of a threat from a double S-rank teen. Swallowing his terror, Four Eyes fakes a smile. He rambles about the heavy burden of being a legend, while the MC watches these rats crawl away. The MC makes a silent vow, the day of true carnage is coming sooner than they think. Minutes later, the piece is shattered by a swarm of obsessed students screaming for photos and autographs. It's suffocating. Perched on a high ledge, the hero tunes out the chaotic noise echoing through the school. Suddenly, the violent screech of burning rubber startles the massive crowd of fans in the courtyard. As everyone seeks attention, a high-end convoy of insanely expensive imports drifts onto the asphalt. The engines roar to a halt, seizing everyone's attention. The car door swings open and a sharp stiletto heel slams down with pure authority. A stunning redhead steps out, leveling a massive bazooka. She threatens to open fire if the ants don't clear a path. Terrified, the students scatter like roaches. They scramble to escape the bodyguard's cannon, tripping over each other in a desperate, clumsy panic. The path is cleared for the real players. Luxury doors fly open, revealing powerful old men in suits. They're dripping in wealth. A short director rushes forward frantically, checking if the 15-year-old hero is okay. He bows deeply, offering a million apologies. The elderly man in the suit immediately identifies himself as the head of Wubo University, a top-tier academy, begging the boy to join them. Without warning, a rival director lands a flying kick, violently shoving his competitor out of the way. He barks that he got there first. Watching this circus, the school bully bites his tongue in envy. Every billionaire director is here to simp for the triple S potential kid, throwing bribes left and right. A wild auction begins with the directors promising $8 million directly to the protagonist's bank account. Upping the ante, the Wubo director promises to forge custom exclusive S-rank gear on the spot. Flexing his pride, the old man brags that only his school has the legendary forging department. They can craft divine weapons without breaking a sweat. Turning red with fury, the other suits scream. They argue that dropping $30 million on a single S-rank blade is just flashy, brainless spending. Watching the brawl from a bulletproof limo, the final director just smiles. He knows he owns the game. This is the true scouting war. The old man with glasses rolls down his window, watching the chaos. From his throne of luxury, he notes that true power doesn't need handouts or desperate chasing. Displaying his dominance, he pulls a rare relic from his jacket. He has the ultimate offer ready. The big boss steps out, flashing a legendary black card, and every other director freezes in pure envy. They're in total shock. That black card is a universal free pass to every dungeon on Earth. Stunned, the oldest director whispers that only the late legend Yan Han Shuo ever held such power. Staring at the pass, the protagonist looks the mogul in the eye and asks for the catch. The director hands over the card without hesitation. Grinning widely, the man explains that it's an exclusive government gift for shattering the SS rank record. In his past life, he'd seen this, having been a legend at 15 before the boy suspiciously asks what he has to do in return. Knowing there's no free lunch, the suit chuckles, swearing, this gift comes with 0 strings attached. The card is his regardless of the school. This old fox claims true sincerity is giving without expectations. No catch. The big shot nods, explaining the state just wants him to thrive without a leash. Peering through the mind games, our hero smirks, low-key vibing with the suit's mature energy. Deal closed. The director tells the boy to sleep on it before retreating to his armored beast. 0 pressure. The other elders realize they can't outflex the government and slink away in defeat. The geezer from Wubo is malding, whining that the state's unfair buffs robbed him of a win. Ignoring the salt, our boy dives into the nerd's ride while fans scream his name at the gates. Big sigh of relief. He thanks the glasses kid for the clutch getaway from the paparazzi chaos. Backseat vibes shift when the hero suddenly demands they head straight to the rich kid's crib. It's tactical. Going home now is a death wish. Every jealous hater in the city is hunting him. Dead of night, and this rich kid is losing it. A SS rank is actually crashing at his place. He's already planning the ultimate photo dump. Meanwhile, the red system interface flickers to life in the dark. Quest updated. A new tab glows, revealing a rare chance for a total class awakening. School mission cleared. He's already cracked with a spear, but a new class. That's next level broken. He's already a beast, but this could make him a god. For now, he shelves the idea. Eyes on the prize. The holographic screen dissolves as they roll into his old neighborhood. Stop here. He jumps out early, reassuring his buddy with a quick, determined nod. Personal business. I'll text you. Alone now, he stares up at the decaying apartment facade. A cold weight settles in his chest. Heart steeled, he raises a fist and thuds against the door. Wait a minute, a frail woman calls out. Inside, his gaze sharpens with pure, lethal intent. He buries his burning rage behind a mask. Then the door swings open, and time stops. His heart freezes. Standing right there inside his fiancée's home is his traitorous former guildmate. Midnight chills. The traitor's eyes bulge instantly, spotting the brat from the tournament earlier. Clueless but arrogant, the Four Eyes tries to act tough, demanding to know who the hell this kid is. Head down, our MC fights, the urge to paint the walls with blood. The fury is blinding. Before he explodes, his fiancée rushes over. Quickly, the hero spins a web of lies. He claims to be the secret adopted brother of the late captain. The girl catches on instantly. Relax, she tells the snake. He's just here to deliver her late lover's final belongings. The villain buys the lie. He figures the kid's insane talent is just some leftover genetic inheritance. Faking a smile, the strategist invites him in, acting like they're already part of the family. He drapes a heavy, phonier-than-plastic hand over the boy's shoulder. Our hero doesn't hesitate, he cuts deep. Why is another man's fiancé hosting a guest in the dark? The audacity leaves the villain stunned. The traitor's eyebrow twitches. He wasn't expecting this brat to have such massive stones. Recovering, the scumbag flashes a disgusting grin, telling the boy he's jumping to conclusions. She's my future wife, he sneers. The wedding is set. 1 month from now, she's mine. Across the room, the girl's composure shatters. She screams, denying the twisted fantasy he's spinning. The hero absorbs every word, his fingers itching to tear out the man's throat. She won't stop. I'll never marry you, not even if my parents beg. The villain just lets out a petty chuckle. But your aunt and uncle are already sold. They already leaked the news to the whole school. The gossip is spreading like wildfire. Tears stream down her face as she denies the betrayal. They'd never sell me out to a snake. The strategist just smirks at her desperation. In their eyes, I'm the prize way more valuable than that dead hero trash from the past. Silence falls like a guillotine, a domestic nightmare playing out in the front row. Breaking the tension, our hero suddenly erupts into a chilling, dark laughter. His laughter slices through the heavy atmosphere like a blade. With a smirk, he claims the puzzle finally fits, explaining why the late chief never grabbed drinks with such a friend. He then pivots to the fraud standing there. Our lead mocks him, stating no girl wants a loser who gossips like a child instead of acting like a man. Drip-feeding pure vitriol, he notes how Four Eyes is weirdly fixated on the girl's family business. He suggests the creep should just marry into the family to simplify his obsession. The room goes silent. The fiancé explodes in a fit of giggles. Meanwhile, the traitor stands frozen, his mind blanking on a witty retort. Stunned by the kid's savagery, she suddenly detects a hauntingly familiar fire burning within this stranger's gaze. Struck by realization, she recalls her true fiancé's vow to ignore the world and only cherish their bond. Just them against everything. Scanning the visitor's face, she starts connecting the dots of her fractured memories. It feels as if the dead man is standing right there. Sensing the shift, the villain tries to cut the moment short. He barks at the brat to drop the inheritance and vanish. Our hero just smirks at this self-proclaimed king. He insists the final delivery was for her eyes only, specifically without any rats lurking in the corners. Doubting the story, the snake snarls. It's hard for him to believe a dying leader would trust a nobody. With some random brat as a witness, he masks his embarrassment with a cough and abruptly calls for an exit. He avoids a brawl, for now retreating. The girl sits motionless, her mind a chaotic storm of shock and hope. Playing the caring husband role, the traitor emphasizes the gravity of the item left behind by the deceased. He tells her to guard that box with her life before turning away to grant them a private moment. Yet, his dark energy lingers at the threshold, a silent, chilling warning, before he actually vanishes. The snake mentions the wedding invites are out. Her parents won't stand for the humiliation of a cancellation. Public shame is a heavy burden. With a final click of the wooden door, the manipulator finally retreats. Left alone in the shadows, the two fated souls share a suffocating silence locked in a long-distance gaze. Dropping onto the couch, the protagonist slides a mysterious black box across the table. Phase 1, complete. His eyes turn icy. He warns her that the trash is likely eavesdropping right outside the door. Pressing an ear to the wood, most likely. He decides to exit through the window to avoid a confrontation. Panicked, she reveals her parents are home and begs him to bolt. She's baffled by his calm demeanor. How could a mere kid predict this chaos? Perched on the window's ledge, our hero pauses for a beat. He casts one final lingering look behind. With a playful smirk, he promises his ex they'll meet again soon. She's stunned into silence by his sheer audacity. Without a second thought, the boy plunges into the night air. He vanishes into the shadows. For the first time in ages, her heart pounds with a strange new rhythm. Following years of solitary grief, she stares at the empty frame, trying to make sense of that wild encounter. Perched on a nearby roof, the MC calculates his moves. 30 days to expose the guild's rot and win. He must crush this wedding. Suddenly, the system pings a new solo mission to clear a B-rank dungeon. He intended to evolve his class first for maximum power, but time is a luxury he doesn't have. The desperate sprint for strength is on. Wasting no time, he dials his wealthy, tech-savvy ally. Four Eyes picks up instantly, offering a lift before the MC can even speak. He ignores the ride and demands a B-rank rift's coordinates. His friend stammers, worried his buddies lost it. Invading a death trap like that alone is suicide. Unfazed, the hero confirms his intent to dive in headfirst. He's ready to tear those monsters apart with his bare hands. Below, the nerd hangs up, utterly baffled. Why is the kid still up there? Moving like a phantom, the warrior glides through the desolate city streets. Destination suicide mission. He starts equipping heavy C-rank plates to soak up the inevitable damage. Analyzing his stats, he confirms the gear provides a vital safety net. He arrives at the glowing rift. To his surprise, the nerd sent a full squad to stop him. He ignores them and steps into the abyss. He recalls the golden rule of B-rank's elite monsters can materialize from thin air at any moment. Scanning the wreckage, the warrior braces for impact. Will it be machines, beasts, or something worse? Suddenly, a foul-smelling ghoul lunges from the shadows, its claws aimed straight for the hero's jugular. With a seamless arc, his steel cleaves the beast's skull, while the system instantly logs the kill reward. The protagonist freezes, realizing this dungeon is cursed with the dreaded mortal infection attribute. From the shadows of the rotting alleyways, a massive legion of the dead begins to encircle him. He grits his teeth, knowing the absence of a spiritual ward makes this zone a nightmare to clear. One slip-up means death, as even a single graze will let the virus liquefy his brain. Bracing for the bloodbath, the hero lunges forward, vowing to grind the entire swarm into dust. He carves through putrid flesh like butter, while level-up alerts rain down, but the massive blade feels heavy. A split-second opening leaves him vulnerable, so he pivots into a thunderous spinning kick to the face. Narrowly dodging a sneak attack, he anchors his heavy blade into the pavement for leverage. With a violent surge, the creature's head is ripped away, painting the street in a spray of dark gore. Utilizing his recall ability, he summons the weapon back, static electricity crackling through his grip. He unleashes a savage whirlwind, mowing down the front line beneath a shroud of ominous purple energy. Channeling his ultimate move, the boy triggers a massive burst of area of effect destruction. The air itself screams as the shockwave obliterates dozens, cracking the very foundation of the road. The system glitches under the killstreak pressure, transforming the entire city block into a crimson graveyard. Perched on a high ledge amid the carnage, he gulps down a restorative vial to fix his broken body. Gasped breaths follow as he admits the massive sword is devouring his stamina at an alarming rate. Without higher-tier skills to assist, he's forced to rely on nothing but raw, primitive strength. His survival instincts tingle, reminding him just how close he came to meeting a gruesome end. Amidst the chaos, two enigmatic figures observe his rampage from the safety of a high-rise. Below them, standing with a twisted grace, a pair of elite undead smirk at the exhausted warrior. Something feels off. Why are these boss-level threats isolating themselves from the main swarm? With a sadistic grin, the female zombie channels her necromancy, her claws glowing with a foul purple light. Suddenly, the mangled heaps of meat on the ground begin to throb, responding to her unholy command. He catches on quick. They plan to drown him in an infinite loop of resurrected corpses. The monsters cackle in triumph, convinced their prey is finally drowning in his own exhaustion. Shattered bones knit back together as the revived ghouls lunge for his throat once more. The boy vaults off a nearby wall, soaring toward the rooftops with an explosive, unexpected momentum. The boss's smug face pales in shock as the hero mocks them for showing their hand too early. He reveals his secret. His legendary titles from a previous life are still burning in the system. Activating Zombie Reaper, he snuffs out their magic and seals their healing, his eyes turning cold and murderous. Channeling the ruthless killer he once was, the hero shifts into a low, lethal combat stance. Leveling his sword at them, he declares they are nothing more than a feast of experience points. Driven to madness, the female zombie abandons her guard, lunging at him with a frantic, desperate strike. Exactly as planned, he readies his heavy steel to end the screeching beast in one fatal swing. Then a world-shaking tremor shatters the nearby skyscraper, bringing the duel to a sudden, violent halt. Even the elite monsters freeze in terror, unable to comprehend the sheer scale of the impact. The building crumbles like dust, sending a suffocating wave of debris and ash across the streets. A gargantuan hidden boss rises from the wreckage, awakened and furious at the noisy little intruders. Facing a literal mountain of putrid meat, the hero gulps, realizing he's way out of his league. The situation has officially descended into